Alright, so I've been looking at getting a 3D printer here for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years. Back then when I was looking, there wasn't anything that, like, I mean, obviously it's a 3D printer, we're all impressed, but it wasn't ready for the consumer in my opinion yet. So I waited. And then about a year ago, they started coming out with these Delta printers. I've been watching, keeping an eye on videos and other people and what they do and their firmware and how they've been setting them up, and they seem to be getting really good. Well, then about a month or so ago, a friend of mine got one, and he's been messing with it, and then he got a Delta, and well then, yeah, alright, so fine, I got talked into getting a Delta. Went ahead and got one of the AnyCubic 3D printers, the Delta version. It's the extruded aluminum 20, 3 rails up. I got the hotbed, power supply. As far as I know, everything that I would need is in here. I mean, obviously there's always upgrades, like a light underneath there if you wanted to. But upgrades are upgrades. We can always change. So let's see what we got in the box, and we'll go from there. Now there's one guy in particular, and I know I can't pronounce it as the way it's supposed to be probably, but Reviz? I don't know. He got this exact same printer. I think his was an older version and did not include the little brass fittings on the where the arms come down. Didn't include those little brass fittings, so it was a little misaligned. But I think watching his 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour video, that's what convinced me not only to get a 3D printer, but get this particular 3D printer. So, box looks almost identical to the one he had, to be honest. Let's see, got some nice foam. Got some instructions. See if I can move this stuff out of our way. So it did come with a pretty decent instruction book. It's not just a little pamphlet. It's actually a book, just pretty much what I was hoping it would come with. Add-in sheet. Oh, it's a parts list. Oh, that's the video assemblies if I want it. Parts list, looks like everything was checked off. We all know how those go. I'm not going to pay a whole lot of attention to that until I actually get into it. Now in his, I saw a heat plate came in the top box right there, and I don't see the heated plate. I don't see the power supply. Maybe it's buried in there, maybe it's in this white box. This looks like the USB cord, spring, little nozzle for the, and I think that's about all that's in there, USB cable. Wires, looks like the hot end's just kind of sitting right here. And can't say it isn't original, but it looks like the J6. Extruder motor, drive motor. Extruder motor. Oh, there it is. Couldn't see the flat spot. It does have it. Fan housing and the extruder housing. Metal, like they said. full board, motherboard, whatever you want to call it. The Tri-Gorilla. Basically a Ramps 1.4 all-in-one. Doesn't have the daughter board or any of that stuff. It's all in one. I believe it comes with Marlin software. I may or may not change that. I may or may not put repeater on it. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and start out with what it comes with, though. I know my lighting sucks for over here. Pretty much exactly like their layout, like their website shows. Got the extra ones, they all come in groups of 5, so it's just how they're sold. So this one will be popped off. Got the 4 heat sinks, did not give us 5. Gonna go up here on these chips to help keep them cool. If it becomes an issue, there's also one you can print out. You can go to Thingiverse. There's a little tunnel you can build to put fan on, blow across this. Like I said, we're going to pretty much leave everything as is to start. We're not going to get carried away or anything like that. Did come with an 8 GB memory card. Supposedly all the firmware, the assembly videos, everything should be on there. Got a couple clips, I'm going to assume glass. Power supply that it normally would come with. I'm hoping this box has the other power supply that I purchased to go with it. Looks like down here we have, oh, that's the belt. That's a whole lot smaller than I thought it would be. So it's got the little gears, the belt drives, bed holders, extruder mounts, extruder itself, and then for the arms and the top piece. Then my yellow is our ABS plastic. Corner mounts, these are the bottom ones. Those actually look pretty good. I know on, I can't pronounce his name, the other guy's video I saw, I see it in here too. You got to do some deburring, nothing major. Just a little knife will clip that off. Yeah, I do see some deburring that needs to be done. I also see on here right away, hopefully I can get the light on that. Maybe not. But yeah, there's just all kinds of metal in here from when they cut it. So you want to make sure you get all these metal filings cleaned off so it don't get into your extruder or into your prints. Hopefully there you can see all that. That's just covered. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully that's showing. Just covered in metal filings. Tons of them. So again, like I said, hoping the power supply is in here. Got a stack of thermistors. Glad I didn't buy the ones I was looking at online. And yes, this is the power supply. It is fanless. We are missing this side. That's going to make it a little more difficult to put together. I was going to print out a cover for this with my little plug on it and a shut off. But we'll have to figure something out there. The biggest thing on these power supplies that most people don't do that you got to do, I mean, it has it. It has that third wire for the ground. Use the ground. Don't just use the 2. Put the ground on it, and then your voltage out. Now this is supposed to be 240 watts. Here it is. It is, well, it's 20 amp. 12 volt. You can do the math. What does that come out to? 240 10 voltage.
Alright, so here, obviously as you can tell, my audio cut out, so I'm redoing it.
There's lots of air holes in
So I'm
this.
talking about there's no fan on the back or the side, and then
I
I'll
don't
have to
know.
put
We'll
some
see how
fans
it
on it.
goes. I might
I
mount a
switched it
fan
over
up here
from
or take this
220
back
down to
plate off and put a
110
fan
for
on it.
US.
But it did come with the power supply. So I'm going to assume there's a hot plate in here
And
somewhere.
here I'm
Hot bed,
lifting
I
the
guess it's
box
called.
out, looking at the tray that's
Since this is
underneath and the
heavy, let's
parts.
set that off to the side.
And there you can see the glass, the
Can't
hotbed,
lift this top one
the
out.
linear rails, and the 9 extruded aluminum 20 by 20 for the top and bottom bases. This is the linear rails. There's 3 of them.
And then in here,
They're in sealed bags because they're already oiled and
sliders.
greased, and they used a lot of oil.
Built-in
But
stop
they
on
shipped
each
from
end.
China, so who knows how long they were on the ship sitting in a
That one
container.
moves pretty damn good.
It only took 7 days to get to me. But yeah, all set up, ready to go. I
Oh,
didn't
they're
have to
oiled.
do anything.
That's why they're
They slide really
bad.
nice, no
Pretty
problem. All
oily.
3 of them slide
I don't
really
know what
good in the
this bag
bags.
is.
There's also a separate little bag
Apparently I got
inside
3
there
extra
that's
balls.
full of little ball
Bearings.
bearings.
Does this one have it? Yeah, this one. This
I
one's got 4.
guess if you wear them
Yeah,
out or
they're
if you
oiled
lose
pretty
them, you
good.
could take the cap off and put those little
And,
little balls in there if you need them.
Nice. But I do see this is not
And then,
assembled the same as
what
his
is this?
box
This
was.
is,
I mean, I guess that really doesn't matter as long as everything's there.
oh, that's the bag of bolts and screws.
Packages of all
Everything
the
that you need to
screws and
assemble it.
bolts and nuts and
Mine
all
actually
the
had
hardware
everything I
I'm hoping we
needed.
need. Looks like each
I
bag is
had
individually
tons of
labeled.
little screws and nuts and bolts
And
left
one
over.
bigger
These
bag.
are the extruder arms with the tie rod ends on either end.
Extruder arms.
They're carbon fiber in the
I'd
middle.
also
They're
looked at
hollow
doing these,
tubes.
switching them over to a magnetic
Really
mount.
nice construction. Nothing's loose,
I don't
broke.
know.
They glued them together really, really nice.
Other than being able to do like
No
a quick
problems
change
there. They're
and
all the
put
exact
quick
same
disconnects
length.
on the wires and everything.
All the heads face the same direction, which is
I don't
good.
really,
If you have
other
one
than
that's,
obviously cool
opposite or turned
factor.
and it's not straight right there,
I
you
don't
want
know
them
what the real
perfectly
difference
straight.
would be
And they are. They were
doing
great.
that. I don't plan on taking
Didn't have
it
any
apart.
issues.
All the joints seem
And
pretty
then when
good.
I get to the extruded parts here in a second,
That one's not
when they
tight.
cut
There we go.
these, they were already wrapped in plastic, and they cut them out of, long stock, probably 20-foot pieces. They cut them down. All the
You can see
metal,
metal
all the
filings and
shavings got in
on
between
these.
and went down into them. I
Hopefully
realize
that's
now,
showing
seeing
in the
that it's
light.
really hard for you to see it. I'm trying to show it in the light. I think I move it up
Too
to the
much
camera here in a
glare.
minute. There we go. Yeah,
No.
bring it up here. See all that? And the
Yeah, they're
light
just
doesn't even
covered
really
in-
show you. I mean, it is covered in them. That's just the
Let's see if
big
we can get it
chunks
right
that you
up
can
next
see
to the
here.
camera. See.
But you definitely want to get that all
Oh, you
cleaned
might
out.
be able to.
You don't want any of that getting into your extruder or into your hot end
It's
or
just
your
covered
filament.
in metal
You
shavings
definitely
and
have to get this
filings.
stuff
Now you
cleaned
can
out.
see it.
That's bad stuff.
Peel this tape
And
back.
I realize they
You
build
see
to a
them
price
all on
point.
there.
It is what it is.
Definitely don't want that getting into your
But
extruder or anything
so
like
far,
that.
that's the worst
Coming parts up and
problem
messing anything
that
up.
I had.
So we'll be cleaning all
I'll
that.
take it out in the garage, blow it out with an air gun, run a little whisk
Side.
broom or a wire, or not a wire brush, a little
Glass
nylon brush over it to get all them out.
with what I hope is just some
There I was
some
showing you the
dust on it.
glass, and there's the hot end. The hot
Got
end's
the
a little
3M
smaller,
tape.
or the hotbed. It's only 210 millimeters. It has the wires already on it. Does not
The
have the
hotbed.
thermistor on it. You have to do that yourself. The glass, the bigger piece that you saw me put down, is
It
250
does have the servos
millimeters.
in it.
And then that black part
Has
on
a
it that has the
12-volt.
cube and says AnyCubic,
Of course, that's right.
that's just a little
Power supply,
sticker for like a print bed.
that little power brick thing that comes
That's
with
the
it.
power supply that came with it. It's a little 5 amp power brick. Cannot
This
run the
poor little
hotbed.
thing. It's
The
enough.
hotbed needs at
It's enough to run the
least
printer
20
itself.
amps to run to get the 200
Control board,
watts out of it.
board, whatever you want to call it.
So you can heat it
You'd
up.
never be able to handle the power.
I think for ABS you have to be at least like 65, 70 degrees
So yeah,
on your
looks like
hotbed.
everything's here.
The little brick won't even
As I
get
can
that thing to
see.
warm up. So that's why I got the bigger power
Stands out
supply.
that it's missing at this point.
Looking underneath, hoping there was more parts,
Heavy wire.
but nope, this is it. I think we're going to
Glass
take
is
it out
there.
of, no, we're just going to take the parts
Not
out
sure. Is there another layer? Nope.
and get
that
rid of
is
the
it.
box.
Just those 2 layers. I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of
There we
Or
go. We'll
not.
just start stacking it on the table there.
I think we'll leave him, I guess. Just take these out because we're going to have to clean clean all of this before we do anything.
Oh yeah. Realized I didn't have room for
I
everything.
guess I didn't count them. Okay, wow, I just freaked myself out.
And then the linear rails.
3. Oh, there's the third one. Okay, so I have all 9 of the short
Really
ones.
nice packaging that they did. You know, they thought ahead. You know, they're covered in oil. They're greasy, and
3 slider rails.
I think they did a really good packing everything.
With the wheels on them,
They put it in there so that everything's
they
nice
just
and
didn't strike
safe.
me
It's not going anywhere.
personally
It's not going to get
as
damaged.
stable or as
Even if they
smooth
came out of
running.
their little parts, you know, the
Now, I could be
individual pieces
completely
came
wrong.
out of
This
their
is my
place.
first
They're
copy
still
printer,
inside that really nice foam,
but
and that's inside that really heavy-duty cardboard box.
that's what I decided to go with.
I don't think anything's going
These we won't be
anywhere.
needing for a while, so I'm going to set them over here
Here
out
we're
of
just
the
going to
way.
grab the rest of the parts and start putting them on the table.
Clean this box back up.
And my dog's barking.
This we're not going to be
I was
using
thinking
for
this had a
anything.
pause button, but it don't. So we're going to listen to him. Here I show you the instruction book. It's got pretty much everything in it you need to build the device. No instructions on however, how to use the control board,
And
the
we did get
settings, or
the
anything
console,
inside of
got
it.
the Linear Plus.
They're just the
The
manual
widest
for
one.
assembling it. Here I show you what
May
it
or may
kind of
not
looks
be
like
the
when you put it
tallest.
together.
The other reason that sold me on Delta
That's the regular
printers,
pieces.
these parts
And then if you wanted to make a bigger one, all you have to do is buy the
go
parts.
together with the arms. You
For
probably
instance,
already
if you
looked at
wanted
the
to
other
take one that was
videos.
3 foot long, you could
They
make
go
your
together
top
like
and bottom
this.
plate 3 foot long
You
if
have
you
this
wanted
one in
to.
here.
That's probably a bit larger than I would ever go. I'm
You
thinking
want
the
it
bottom
bigger?
base I might want to push it out to 18
Bigger
inches,
extruders, for
and the
instance.
top I might go to 4 foot, but
Not that I
that's,
would go this big,
as far as
obviously.
what I would use it for,
If you
that would be
wanted to,
plenty.
you can make your base out of these.
Here I was measuring it. The
And
short
this would be
pieces
your
on the
bottom.
end are 10
That would be
inches,
freaking huge.
and then with the corner and everything,
I
they
don't
actually
think I
come
would
out
ever
to
go
about
that
12
big,
inches
to be
wide once
honest.
it's
I was
assembled.
thinking,
I think in millimeter,
what are
well,
these?
the print
These are 10
size
inch.
is 240 millimeter. I'm not good with millimeters. And then the long ends, as you can see there,
These
I'm measuring them out.
are about 11
I
and
think it
3/4.
was, I want to say it was like
So let's say you wanted to
34
go
and
with
3/4 or
18
something like,
inches.
or
You know, go 6 inches wider base. You could.
I'm
No
not sure
wires,
what it
no
was
nothing.
now.
That
I
these
know the
make any
full height
difference
once I
in.
was done was
The only
3
thing if these are
foot.
longer, taller, wider, you just have to set your
Oddly, I was
parameters in
thinking
your
it was much
firmware.
larger than that, but no, I guess,
Now
yeah.
the uprights, I believe, are 26.
Just getting the rest of the parts out. There's
And they
the
are,
3
whoops,
tower pieces. And again, they all have to be
actually
cleaned.
they're
Make sure you get that metal
26
crap. Oh, there we go,
and
yeah.
not
I was wondering
quite
why,
3/4, but pretty
not sure
close.
what that other piece was, why it was shorter like that. But yeah, they're 3 foot. I don't know what I was measuring,
That was
which part it
the
was.
main reason I did go with a Delta.
But make sure you get the metal filings.
If I want to make it bigger later.
That's the only real big issue that you have to take care of,
Well, technically,
because
I
that'll
could
just ruin your day.
buy
You
these
get
taller
metal,
ones.
just one little chip inside
If I
your hot
wanted to cut
end,
these down, let's
ruins
say
your extruder
you'd
end,
go
and
18 inches.
you have no idea why, and trying
I
to
would just cut
troubleshoot it, you'll
the
probably never
uprights
find it.
at 18.
Looks like that was the motherboard, setting that off to the side so it stays safe.
But I'd still need 6 more, I
Taking
guess.
out
So
the
I'd have to buy
stepper
3
motors.
8 or 6
Or no,
18-inch
that's the
bars.
extruder, the hot end
And all these would be extra.
building plate.
I suppose you
That's
could
the
weld the
extra
aluminum.
thermistors they sent me. I think
I've
there
got
was
a
a
good
total of
love of
5 in
aluminum.
there.
Steel I could do.
One's already in the hot end.
But I think
You
all
need
in all,
one
you're
for the
probably better
bed,
off
and then
buying
there's
new
4
ones.
extras, which is great.
Easily extend those if you want it.
They're not all that
Control
expensive. I
board
think
we're
if
not
you
going
were
to
to
be
go
using
to
for a bit.
Amazon or even
Set that
eBay,
over here out of the way.
you can get
Nice
10
and
of them
safe.
for like, $5. They're not much.
Yeah, I didn't know they were going to send me. It looks
Just
like I
getting
got
all the
3.
wires, the belts. There's the
More than
control
right in that.
panel, the faceplate.
1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I got 5
They do have a
extra
touch screen that you
thermistors.
can put on here
One
instead
for
of
the
that.
bed, one for the hot end.
I really,
Hot End had one already.
I mean, it's nice to have. I mean, touchscreen.
So we got
And then there's the metal faceplate that
total of
goes over it and then
6.
bolts to the frame.
Again,
On
we'll
the
do this for a little
touchscreen,
bit.
though, I mean, yeah, you do a lot of stuff with the
I
screen.
just thought, I just realized.
Most people actually print via USB from their slicer right into the printer. They don't even use the screen for anything. And for them, they don't even need it. And then there's ones like me that I slice everything and put it on an SD card. The reason I do that is that way if the USB slows down or my computer rebooted, Microsoft did an update, I don't lose my print. I don't have to start over. You could be at the last 80% and have your head come crashing down because your computer rebooted. That would not be good. So I save everything to the SD card. I use the control panel to scroll through the little menu to go to the SD card, go to whichever print I'm going to do at that point, and select it. Yes, having a touchscreen and just touching SD card, scrolling through the files, and then touch the part you want, or double tap it, I think it is, to actually print it, or to tell it to print. It'd be nice. They're like $30, I think, maybe 35 with shipping to your door. At least from Amazon, I think it's 2-day shipping. And then there's the rest of the parts for assembling. Set them off to the side for now until we need them. Take out the motors. This is the bigger one. It's the extruder. That's the one that does, well, they all do a lot of work. But that one, the bigger one, does a lot of fine-tuning back and forth. It puts out the filament, then it retracts it, like when it does a turn or jumps over a hole. A lot of little tiny adjustments.
If I were to print something actually
the regular
that large,
stepper motors, they're usually just up, down, forward and backwards. Not anything like 1/16th of a step. They're doing like a step back and forth. Now here's where I'm getting all these down. We're going to have to take these out to the garage. I'm going to blow them out with the air gun, and then brush them out with a nylon brush that I have.
Extruder motor, XYZ motors.
And then these little corner pieces, the smaller ones for the top, the yellow, is a completely different material, different cut than what the bigger bottom ones are. The top ones, they're kind of even a faded yellow. I know it's hard to see on this camera with that light I have, but they're a faded yellow, and they just feel different. They feel powdery, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. To where the other ones, the 3 big ones in the back corner there, they're like laser cut. They're like perfectly smooth. I don't know if they were. These, I would have to say, were probably injection molded because there's a lot of places that needed to be deburred. But I could be wrong. And then these, like I said, they're like perfect. I think these were laser cut or CNC cut at least. The 3 smaller ones, I think, were injection molded. And, they do their job. They hold the 2 pieces of metal together like they're supposed to, and they stand up at the top of the tower. They're just not as nice and crisp and clean as these bigger ones here are. There you can kind of see the difference in color when I got them side by side. The smaller one in my right hand is definitely faded compared to that bright yellow one in my left. Oh, and on the bottom here, when you put your towers in, there's actually a stop, so you can't go too far. It's got a little stop piece. So there's a top and bottom to these. Put it in one end, and then it automatically stops. It can't go past those 2 spots right there. So no matter what, when you build it, your tower's level. They're all the same as long as you got it at the bottom. Tighten them up. You're going to build your tower. Your gantry's going to be level. You really can't help it unless you do something really idiotic and hold one up. Here I'm showing you those little grooves that are cut into the sides so you can tighten up the mounts for the motors, because otherwise you can't get to those screws. They got little cutouts on the side of the form there so we can get to them. Makes it really nice to assemble it. It is still trying. It's difficult. Now here's the little symbol that they're CEUL listed, certified. I don't know about that. I mean, as long as you're not,
You need it to get in there to those motor
you definitely have to be
holes.
careful with your wires. You got to hook them up right.
That's why they
Like
cut
anything
these out.
else, if you hook it up wrong, you're gonna, break or damage something or fry your board. You definitely don't want to damage anything. Okay. Now it looks like I'm going to kind of go through and deburr the yellow pieces. I think I did for the most part. There's only a couple of little things on them. It wasn't bad at all.
Apparently this part is 12 volts.
I think I'm going to go ahead and take these out to the garage now and clean them out and get rid of all those metal filings.
ROHS certified.
Oh, the other thing is they have that hole down the center that's nice. You can run your wires through it. The wire's there, it's safe, nothing can hurt it or damage it.
Yeah, basically the very first thing I'm going to be doing.
Here I think I'm just talking about the packing and the parts. Aside from those metal filings, everything is like absolutely, perfectly cut, perfect sized. It's all there. I think the only thing I was missing was the extended screws. There's 3 of them that are 3 by 25 millimeter. I was missing 3.
Judging by the lines that are in here.
I had some from another project, from my LED cubes and stuff, so I had 3 on hand, so to me it didn't matter. But that was the only thing missing. They're not even on the parts list because it's actually it's an update where they put those little brass fittings on the end of the end rods, the extruder arms. It just gives the little swivels an extra, I think it gives them like another 35, almost 40 degrees of movement. So it moves really, really nice. That's the only thing those screws are used for. And if you don't have them, most hardware stores that sell hardware, not all of them do, but if they do, they should have them. And if you have to, get the longer ones. 45 millimeter are actually really common, 3 by 45. Go ahead and get them, and then when you get home, just measure it out, 25 millimeters, and cut it, with a Dremel tool or even a hacksaw if you have to. You probably could cut them with a pair of lineman dikes. You wouldn't have that really nice edge on it, but you could cut it. You're just screwing into that metal, the effector, and I think probably even if you had to, if they were like 27, 28 millimeters would be fine. I think there's enough room in there. Here I was just kind of sorting through the nuts, the bolts, making sure everything was there. According to the packing list, I did have everything. But like I said, when I started to put it together, there was an add-on sheet for those brass fittings, and those 3 screws were missing. I had the brass fittings though, but otherwise I'm just checking parts here, quantity and the bolts. For the most part, I had more than what I needed. I think every screw and nut and bolt that I had at least 2 extra of everything.
Makes it really nice. I like it when companies do that. It makes it so.
And again, I'm just checking with the packing list. I think on that big bag, I didn't count them all because I think I only needed like 12, and there was a bag of like 50. So I think we're pretty much good.
The videos, you already know 2 washers that I have no idea where they go.
We'll go ahead and end this here.